Good morning. So today I'm offering you a reflection on something that's happened in the last century, and that century has been called the Age of Extreme by historians, because in this period we have been witnessing many changes that had affected almost any aspect of life. But during this time we had also some other changes that most of the people did not realize that were happening, and I'm speaking about what happened in the rural territory. So we've been applying a development model, but mostly fostering an industrial model of agriculture that showed to be ineffective in many rural areas to solve the economic problem of the rural population. It had been degrading the environment, but also destroying the social structure, also generating the loss of many cultural heritage related to the rural territory. So in these 2-3 decades, there was a growing interest in changing this attitude to this kind of development with the rise of projects, but basically generated by local communities, try to understand more of this, of what we can call agricultural heritage system, where there is a lot of knowledge and wisdom concerning how to adapt to local environment, especially in very fragile ecosystem, where people learn to survive during the century in order to solve the problems, but always finding an interesting and positive relation with the environment. So there are, as you see, many of these sites that have been found in many countries in the world, not only in developing countries, but also in Europe, because there is, as I said, an interest from local population to reappropriate their history and their knowledge and try to understand more of what they did in the past, what their ancestors did to find a good relationship with their environment. And coming to situation like this, just to explain more in practical terms, when I say we are here in the southern Atlas of Morocco, what you see is what they call an Argan forest. The Argan tree is a fantastic tree. It can grow in very arid region. The roots of the tree goes deep down in the soil as far as 40 meters. The tree is adapting very well to a different climatic condition. When it's very dry, all the leaves turn dry. When you have a rain, in just 10 days it can turn green. And what they have also is a fantastic relationship with other activities like livestock raising. You probably know, I don't know if you know the argan oil, that the goats, so there are shepherds there where the goats are grazing. The goats are eating out the argan nuts, and then during this digestion they release a nut without the bark. The women are collecting these nuts and they're producing oil both for eating and also as a cosmetic. So as you see, there is a relationship combining different things together, not only the cultivation and production of the tree. And the other thing that I would say, beside the fact that you look at a beautiful landscape, is that they call this a forest. So many of us, especially those studying forestry, think that the forest is a thick, dense, homogeneous layer of trees covering the soil. It's not true, especially in historical terms. In the country where I come from, Italy, until 40 years ago, 50 years ago, normally what we call forest was considered a place where you have grazing animals. Legally, I'm saying, not just because of something you read in the books. So, in all this area, you see there is unfortunately also a kind of development that tends to abandon all this system, because these were not just a cultivation of trees. These were a system combining together many different things. So the danger of this situation is that the population is moving to other area in Morocco is the coast. Well, you have problems just like urbanization, soil consumption, social degradation, and now what is interesting in this area is there's a flow of people returning to the land from these places along the coast, they want to go back there and try to find a new relationship with their environment. But basically what this situation shows is that these people has been adapting to very difficult conditions in order to survive. They were not producing much, but they were producing in areas where a modern farmer, at least from Europe, would say, well, this is impossible to develop a modern agriculture. And what to say about other areas like this that you see in China? We are in the fish pond system in the Huzhou area. You see here also, it's very interesting because all these ponds combine different way of producing. They're producing mulberry tree, and the mulberry tree are feeding the fish in the ponds. Then taking the fish, but also taking the mud and using it to fertilize the mulberry. So in this case, we call it system because it's not just one plantation. It combines different things all together. And so you are an interesting system that it's working without many external energy inputs. And you know all this not because you can read it in books, but you know this from the local population because they learned in history how to do it. And what to say about these floating gardens? Okay, water sometimes is a problem because you need a land to cultivate. So they're creating these islands, make of straw, where they're cultivating the vegetables. Beside the fantastic scenery that you see, okay, this is very productive. They can really produce a lot. So this is helping, once again, to find a way of surviving, just taking advantage of what the environment is offering. So my environment is water. I need to survive in water. I'm developing my knowledge, my skills to understand how to survive there. And also this is a system because there is an interaction between the water, the fish, and what is cultivated over there. And what to say once again about the oases? Well, the oases are places that you do not even suspect they exist if you travel in the desert. But inside an oasis, you find everything. You can find olive trees, fruit trees, date palms, grapes, and all is done with just a very tiny amount of water. And you don't need a lot of water there. They just learn how to create this paradise, I would say, in the middle of the desert, just learning to save what the nature has given to them. And so that they gain more cultivated area in the desert with system they are using to turn sand with nothing inside into a place like that. These are very fragile ecosystem at all levels, environmental, economic, and social. In an area like here, we are in the Siwa oasis between Egypt and Libya. The problem is that too many people has found that it's a good place for living. So from all over Egypt, they try to go there. So there's too many people getting back into this area. The same thing is happening in China. In many countries, we have been seeing the abandonment of the rural territory. But in all these sites that are sort of having a new life, there are many farmers who want to go back in the area because they found the standard of living they had in urban area unsustainable. What to say about this other aspect? We are near Naples in Italy. These are mixed cultivation. You see there is an interesting interaction between the tree. The big trees are poplar and the vines. Just to see, okay, you understand the height, almost 12 meters. So what they're doing, they're combining the wine, the collection of the leaves for the animal as fodder. They're cultivating the vegetables around the tree and also cultivating wheat. So 4 cultivation in one place. Why all that? They need a space that they didn't have. Too many people to feed, so they wanted to have a limited space. They need to have a space where to cultivate more crops. This system is 2,000 years old and it's still there. The wine is very good, by the way. But once again, where is this knowledge? Where I get the information in the books explaining to me, wine in Italy, viticulture, and so on. I try to find a book explaining you how this system developed by the Etruscan people is working. And another big issue today are terraces. Stone terraces, grass terraces, and well, all of these are offering, once again, a number of information on how to survive that from the point of view of the landscape, okay, beautiful, but there is a knowledge in the system that we are truly trying to understand. So how these stones are drying, for instance, in order to reduce hydrogeological risk. They play a fundamental role. Or how these systems are working to support the cultivation, that the heat of the sun is incorporated in the stone of the wall during the hot hours of the day, and it released during the chilly hours of the day. This is something that the farmers know, but no technician working in olive production or viticulture knows, considering a textbook. So what we are trying to do now is try to recover all this information and try to organize courses, the big project that we have in Florence, in order to create managers that can manage this area across the world. And the most difficult thing is to have the knowledge as teacher to give to these students. And just to conclude, we didn't know when we started this training program, it's an international master course, how many people would apply, because this topic, I didn't know actually how popular it could be, especially in developing countries that are those where we send most of the information, where we received 95 applications from 25 countries, and at the end, among those students accepted, this may be interesting for some of you, 80% of them are women. Thank you very much.